have a lot of body weight stuff. We're going to be doing mostly body weight stuff with a couple of equipment here and there, but not today, so you don't need to worry about grabbing anything nearby. The movements we're going to be going over today, we'll be going over them again in a little bit, but it'll be burpees, squats, grasshoppers, reverse lunges, bicycle crunch, and we get a little bit of a rest before we do another workout. We're going to get started with kind of like a yoga flow on the warm-up. Just try to follow with your breath and try to follow along with your movement. Really just try to, if you've never done yoga before, just try and follow along as best as you can. Move at your own pace. Focus on your breath. This is going to be the most important part here. Start standing. Feet together. Big toes and heels are touching. Palms can be in prayer by the sides. Take a big inhale. Feel a little taller. Exhale. Feel a little heavier. Your next inhale, we're going to reach up and back. Try to touch the sky. Exhale, forward. Halfway up, inhale. Deeper forward fold, try to touch the ground. Go ahead and step back. Take a big inhale. Exhale, lower yourself down. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Take one big breath. Inhale the right heel to the sky. Exhale, bring the knee into the chin. Inhale, heel to sky. Exhale, knee in. And then last one. Step it forward. Warrior one. Arms are going to reach over your head. If this is challenging, you can always bring them into prayer. Just take one big breath. See if you can open up the chest and look up. See a little behind you. Exhale, plant the palms. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take one big breath. Inhale the left heel to the sky. Exhale, knee to chin. Inhale, tall heel. Exhale, knee in. And last one. Step it forward. Warrior one. Right heel is going to drop at 45 degrees. So make sure your heels are aligned. Arms reach overhead. And bring them into prayer if you like. Press heavy to this back foot. Maybe this front knee can try and bend a little bit. Take one more big inhale. Reach up. Look at the sky if you're comfortable. Exhale. Plant your palms. Flow through. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take one deep breath. Inhale the left heel back up to the sky and then bend the knee. Point the toes, opening up the hip a little bit. Exhale. Bring your knee in towards your chin or crisscross to the other elbow. Inhale. Reach the heel up. Exhale. Bring the knee in. And then last one. Reach up and around. You can tap to the ground for a quick wildling here. Exhale, bring the left palm to the ground, step the left foot forward into your warrior two. Right heel is going to drop to 90 degrees, and you're going to spiral open. Make sure this right leg is heavy, then let the left knee bend. First warrior, reach up, reach behind you. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, back to reverse. Keep the right leg strong. Spiral into your downward facing dog. Flow through a vinyasa. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Right heel to sky. Big inhale. Then bend the knee. Point the toes. Try to open up the hip. Exhale. Bring the knee into the chin or the other elbow. Inhale. Reach it up. Exhale. Crisscross in. Last one. You could try your wildling here. Dropping it to the ground with control. Drive the hips up. Big inhale. Then exhale, right palm back down to the ground. Right foot forward, spiral out to your warrior two. Make sure the left leg is strong now. Then the right knee can try and bend a little deeper. Lift the chest up, softening through the shoulders. Inhale, reverse warrior. Try to reach behind. Extended side angle. Exhale. Back to reverse. Move with control. Spiral into your downward facing dog. And you can flow through there. Take 3 deep breaths. Big inhale through the heels. Exhale, soft through the shoulders. Flex the abs for another breath. And let the vertebrae try and relax. Take one more deep breath here on your own. Your next inhale will bend the knees. Look to the front. Exhale, we're going to jump into a squat. You're going to reach both of your arms overhead. We're kind of continuing our warm-up here with some bootstrappers. Arms are going to reach up, and you're going to stand tall, try to touch the sky. Touch your toes from there with straight legs. pull yourself into a squat, and then reach both your hands overhead again. We're going to do this for about 7 to 10 reps. Really try to feel the hamstring stretch and the torso opening up tall as the arms reach over your head. Sort of breathe with your movement. Heels are heavier than the toes. Toes don't want to jam into the ground here. And the knees drive slightly apart. You don't want them to touch each other. You don't want them to drive towards one another. Let's do 2 more. So that the spine is looking a little bit more straight as you want to find a good posture. A lot of fitness is about building your posture, trying to feel a lot taller through your spine than you normally are. Last one here. All right, do a couple torso twists. Let's kind of loosen out the spine a little bit. You should feel very relaxed from the hips up. The legs are a little strong, almost gluing themselves down into the ground through the feet. The vertebrae should feel a little loose, like you're stretching at the very end of each twist, very gently. Breath is still full, steady. Heart rate down a little bit. Do a couple shoulder circles. Make sure that you can feel the webbing between the fingers. Thumbs are going to point forward. We're going to do 10 shoulder circles forward. Let the shoulder blades kind of glide around the back. They're moving up and down, side to side. And we're going to flip the palms up and backward. And we're going to get the knuckles to press into the temples very gently. Don't like stab yourself in the head. And we're going to fold the elbows together. Keep the wrists straight and then try to really open the elbows wide. Fold them together and open wide. My legs still feel strong here. I don't want to feel disengaged in my core at all. I want to feel very solid against the ground. All right. Let's talk about our workout before we get started. Like I mentioned earlier, we got a few movements. What we're essentially going to be doing is 35 minutes of cardio. Keep your pace. Imagine if you were going to go for a 35-minute jog, you'd probably not want to sprint it. You'd probably take a nice easy pace with some jogging and maybe even some walking in there if you're still kind of used to cardio. There's nothing wrong with taking it easy. If you want to just do a few reps per minute, then that's totally fine. Any sort of movement is going to be good for you. Burpees is going to be our first minute. What that's going to look like is we're going to drop down to the ground. Either going to jump back, drop into a push-up, then jump back in, jump up. Or you can step back. This is a much more modified variation where you step back and then step back in. It doesn't even have to be a jump. You can kind of just touch the fingertips overhead and do the same thing here. Just make sure to alternate which foot steps back each time so that you're not building imbalances. Second movement is going to be your squats. Nice and easy. You squat down, you stand back up. Squat down, stand back up. These can be overhead squats too, or if you have some light weight, you can always hug a little plate or something here to add some resistance. We got reverse lunges. Chest is going to be tall in a good posture. We're just going to step back. And then we got our bicycle crunch. Very standard movement. You've seen everybody doing these before. They look like you're stuck in a sit-up. The legs just go in and out. And then we're going to take that last minute as a rest. We're going to do this quite a few times. We'll see how we can go through this with a nice steady pace, working on your breath more than anything else. I'm not there to watch your guys' form, but all these movements are kind of easy anyway. So easy in the sense that bad form doesn't really mean bad stuff. I think most of you guys can get away with this. All right, go ahead and take a 30-second to a minute break here. Get some water if you like. And then we're going to start our 35 minutes of cardio. I'll give you guys some time. Let me get my timer set up. I'm going to let you guys know at the 30-second mark and the 45-second mark so that what you can do is rest at the 30-second mark if you're really tired. And if you're feeling pretty good, I encourage you to maybe try and go all the way up to the 45-second mark. If the movement's really, really easy, like maybe someone's really, really good at abs, and you have that whole minute rest after the bicycle crunch anyway, you could take the whole minute and work. But I wouldn't recommend working the whole minute all the way through unless you're very, very comfortable with this type of stuff. Start with 30 seconds, maybe on the first set. The second set is 45 seconds all the way through. And on the last set, you can certainly try a minute or whatever going through. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to get my timer set up. First movement is going to be your burpees. I'm going to keep it easy, so don't take my pace. Do whatever pace is comfortable for you. If you want to go faster or slower is going to be good. All right, we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, begin. You can start by reaching up, planting the palms, either jumping back, jumping in, maybe a jump up. But I'm going to keep my first set very easy here, just some push-ups, the step backs. Trying to keep my breath steady. Trying to keep the body moving. That's 30 seconds. If you're feeling pretty good, go ahead and just take a break there. Shake it out. Take a few deep breaths before we move on to our next one. I'm going to move for another 5-10 seconds here. And 3, 2, 1. That's 45 seconds. Go ahead and take a break, 15 seconds. Got our squats coming up. Squats, next movement. Keep it easy. Work on your tall chest. Heels are going to be heavy, heavier than the toes at least. In 2, 1, begin. Pull yourself intentionally into the ground and then stand up fast. Inhale down. Exhale up. Make sure you're using your glutes, your abs a little bit. I know this feels like mostly legs. See how much of your hips do most of the work here. That's about 30 seconds. If you want to take a little bit of a break, you can. I'm going to go sideways so you guys can see my form in a different way. My hips are kind of reaching back and then down, straight into the ground. I'm pulling them down. I'm not letting myself just drop into a squat. I'm intentionally lowering myself into my squat. 2, 1, take a break, 15 seconds. Got our grasshoppers coming up. For this one, I will keep it easy for now. Mountain climbers are totally fine. If you want to kick all the way through, it'll be even more challenging. So start with mountain climbers. If you're still new to this, go ahead and begin. Mountain climbers, knees in, one at a time. Try not to bounce the hips. I see this happen a lot. People kind of bounce their hips up and down. You want to pretend that your hip is already pressing against the ceiling, so it can't bounce any higher than that. Try to keep a nice steady pace here. You don't need to rush through these. That's about 30 seconds. Feeling pretty good? Go ahead and take a break. I'm going to take a break there, but I encourage you to keep moving if you can. We got our reverse lunges coming up, so we're going to be getting back onto our feet. About 20 seconds if you want to keep working. 5 more. And 2, 1, 15-second break. Take it out a little bit. Take the legs out a little bit. Reverse lunges are coming up, where we just step back up to the front. We'll get started in 3, 2, 1, begin. Step back with one foot, recenter, and switch sides. This should feel a little bit like a cool down, unless you really hate lunges. Then this will probably be one of the more challenging movements for you today. But they build up fast. If you hate lunges now, in a few weeks you won't. Make sure that your toes don't jam into the ground. It's very common that I see people's heels lift up on the lunge here. I'll kind of demo. If I were watching you do lunges and I see that heel float, then that's a good indicator for me to come over and yell at you. Make sure that heel stays heavier than the toes. It's very good for knee health. All right, that's about 40 seconds. We've moved a little longer here. Go ahead and take a break. That's 45. Next movement, our bicycle crunch. These can be sit-ups. If you'd rather just do sit-ups here, arms can help, or they can stay straight or relaxed on the chest. Go ahead and begin if you're doing bicycle crunches. Opposite elbow to opposite knee. Make sure your breath is steady. This is our last movement before we do a minute rest. So if you want to work the whole minute here, you can. I'm going to stop at 30. That's 30 seconds. Take a little bit of a break if you want to. We have a whole minute after this, so if you want to keep working, go ahead. We have about 20 more seconds before that minute rest. So keep it up if you're still going strong. Make sure your breath is full and steady. We're going to be able to slow our heart rate down in just a little bit here. 10 more seconds to go. In 5, 3, 2, 1. Take a 1 minute break. 1 minute break. We're going to do that whole thing again, from the burpees all the way down to the rest. If you want to start making the burpees a little more challenging, just try and move a little faster. If you want to make the squats a little more challenging, grab onto some weight. It can be anything. If you have like a water jug you want to hug, anything that's comfortable to hold. Grasshoppers, if you're already doing mountain climbers, turn those into grasshoppers. Lunges, same thing as the squats. Add weight if you want to. Bicycle crunch, can't really make those any more challenging if you're already doing the bicycle crunch. If you weren't doing the crunches, then try them out. All right, in about 20 seconds, we're going to start on our burpees again. Keeping a steady pace here. Burpees is one of those movements that does get much easier over time. Just got to give yourself that time and effort to practice them regularly. 5 seconds to go. Burpees will be up in 2, 1. Let it begin. Burpees. Breaking the burpees down into its individual movements. Push up and its squat. That's about 30 seconds here. If you want to take a little bit of a break, go ahead, shake it out, take a deep breath, drink a little bit of water. Too much. One more burpee here, 40 seconds if you want to. Take a 15-second break here so we get to the squats coming up. Squats will be next. If you don't have any weight and you want to make this one a little more challenging, we're just going to try and find some tempo to our movement. We're going to go down slow, then we're going to explode up, just like you're about to jump. All right, in 2, 1, I'm going to have my arms overhead. I'm going to go down slow and stand up fast. Could be like a 1 second, 2 second on the way down. 1 second up. Use your breath here. Make sure you're inhaling down, exhaling up. Use the glutes. Use the abs. That's 30 seconds. If you want to take a little bit of a break, go ahead. Otherwise, keep moving for another 15 seconds. Got our grasshoppers coming up. Depending on how that movement feels for you, you might want to take that break a little earlier. 15 seconds to go. If you're still moving, maybe take a break now. Grasshoppers will be coming up. Stick to the mountain climbers if you really need to. Totally fine. As long as you're moving, I'm okay. In 3, 2, 1. If you're doing mountain climbers, they'll look like this. If you're doing grasshoppers, you're going to kick that leg through. Keep your breath full. Usually what stops us in the middle of our movement is that we're not breathing properly. Try to separate your movement with your breath and focus on your breath the entire time. That's 30 seconds. Take a break. Unless you want to keep working, if you're doing pretty good. Good job. Very good. The next movement is going to be your reverse lunge. Just like before, if you want to have the arms overhead, make it more challenging, or hug a weight of some sort. Any kind of weight. Hug it close to the chest. We'll get started in about 10 seconds. Reverse lunges. Can be overhead too. I actually like the overhead movement. If you have bad shoulders, it's nice to get the arms working overhead. Let's go ahead and begin. Stepping back. and reset. The knee doesn't have to drop to the ground. If it does drop to the ground, try to make it very gentle. You don't want to relax it on the ground. It should just feel like a quick tap. You want to step back all the way without the knee even bending. Different version, different kind of lunge, different strengthening. That's 30 seconds. I'll move for another 2 or 3 lunges here. All right, got about 5 more seconds before you take a break. Try to keep it moving, nice and steady pace. And 2, 1, break. Got our bicycle crunch coming back up. Just sit-ups if you want to do sit-ups. Otherwise, opposite elbow, the opposite. In 3, 2, 1, begin. Bicycle crunch. Keeping it slow if you need to. You can also move fast as long as you're controlled. Keeping focus on your breath. That's about 30 seconds. If you want to, take a little bit of a break there. Otherwise, you can keep working. We do have another minute break coming up, so if you want to, you can work a little longer here. Make sure your breath is full. Feel grounding wherever you can. If you're just focusing on your butt touching the ground or your shoulders touching the ground, it might hurt a little bit more. In 10 seconds, take a break there if you need to. You're going to have 1 minute rest. If you want to, drink some water, shake it out, pace around. Got to do to slow your heart rate down. About 30 seconds or so, we're going to be doing our burpees again. So if you're still feeling pretty good, or if your energy is starting to pick up a little bit, the first 2 rounds you were kind of just bumbling through it, start jumping through these burpees. Start feeling a little bit more explosive in your movements if you can. If you're on the top floor like we are, can't really jump too much, so can't do anything about that. But on the bottom floor, if you do have the ability to jump around, feel free to do so on the burpees. All right, in about 8 seconds, we're going to get started. Burpees will be first. And 2, 1, begin. My jumps are going to be very quiet, very controlled. So I don't bounce the room around. Feel free to move a little faster than that if you like. That's 30 seconds. Maybe take a little bit of a break there. Moving quick, you might want to break a little sooner than usual. I got our squats coming up. Same thing as the burpees. You have space and room to jump. You can jump on your squats. Doesn't have to be very high up, but if you feel that explosiveness wanting to jump, then that's pretty good. You can keep working on that. Got about 8 seconds to go before our squats. If you're still doing burpees, take a break. In, 2, 1, squats, down and up. If you're not jumping, work on the negative slow. Exhale out fast. In, 2, 1. That's 30 seconds. If you want to keep working, go ahead. If you're still doing regular squats, start to work on depth as well. There's always extra range. We can pull ourselves into our squats. As long as you're trying to find that depth every time, you'll get more and more comfortable down there. We got about 15 more seconds. If you're still working, take a break. Grasshoppers will be coming up, or mountain climbers. Stick to mountain climbers if the grasshoppers are tough. Got about 3, 2, 1. Mountain climbers or grasshoppers. focus on flat palms here. A lot of times, people's palms are kind of cupping, so if you take a look at your hands and they look like they're shrimping in, see if you can spread the fingers out wide. Feel the webbing between all the fingers. This is very good for wrist health, elbow strengthening, shoulder strengthening, even all the way up to the neck. That's 30 seconds. If you want to keep working, go ahead. We got our reverse lunges coming up. Good. And moving strong if you still are. If you're breaking, slow the heart rate down. In about 15 seconds, we're going to move on to our reverse lunges. Just like before, hold some weight. You can also add a jump to these. As you step back, you're going to jump to your next lunge. Just a little bit faster, a lot more explosive. In 2, 1, begin. Reverse lunges or jumping lunges. The lunges are going to keep getting more challenging too, so these still feel pretty easy for you. Just keep it moving. On the next set, we'll give you something else. Notice my chest is kind of dipping down a little bit on each of my lunges. What I'm going to try and do is keep my posture tall. My sternum almost looking right out the window in front of me, not at the ground. That's 35 seconds. Maybe take a break there. Otherwise, work for another 10 seconds. In 2, 1, take a 15-second break. Got our bicycle crunches coming up. Sit-ups are good. Some kind of ab work. If you're feeling tired and you'd rather just hold some ab exercise, you can practice your boat pose, yoga pose. And it's almost like you're stuck halfway in a sit-up with the legs floating. Go ahead and begin. Either boat pose, sit-ups, or bicycle crunch. Make sure your chest is tall. And a lot of these postures, you want to find that good posture. Or a lot of these poses, you want to find that good posture through the spine. Focus on your breath. Steady. That's 30 seconds. If you want to take a break there, go ahead. Otherwise, got a little bit more to go before another minute break here. If you're resting, focus on your breath, heart rate down. All right. So we got about a minute break here before we start back at the top. We're about halfway through our workout, halfway through this first section here. We have a very short workout at the end. Short but kind of brutal workout. Drink some water if you need to. Take it out. Round. Burpees will be coming up in about 45 seconds. About 20 seconds. You're already doing your most advanced version of the burpee. You don't need to change anything else. Maybe just working on speed. There's a 7-minute burpee test that some gyms will use as a benchmark. Nice fun test. If you practice these workouts for the next few weeks, regularly doing burpees, I highly recommend trying out that 7 minutes. All right, we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, burpees. Keep it easy if you need to. We're halfway through, so conserve a little bit of energy here. Try not to sprint it out. If you have been sprinting it, I would slow it down for a break or for a whole set. So you can speed it back up on the last workout. I'd rather have energy for my last workout. Be dead. The ground. That's 30 seconds. You want to take a break from the burpees? Go ahead. Got our squats coming up. About 20 seconds or so. Just like the last set of squats, make them explosive, jump a little bit off the ground. This transfers over to kettlebell movements and Olympic training and stuff like that. Explosiveness is very, very good for fitness. Got our squats in 5, 2, 1, begin. Squatting down, come back up. Sure to pull yourself intentionally into your squat. What I mean by intentionally, if I were to say red light, you'd be able to stop. You're not on a crash course all the way to the bottom and not able to stop. You should feel like you can pause at any time you need to. Make sure your toes aren't jamming into the ground. You should be able to wiggle around here. The heels and the mound of the toes want to feel heavy, not the toes though. That's 30 seconds. You can take a break there if you want to. Otherwise, work for a few more seconds. The grasshoppers will be coming back up. 15 seconds before our grasshoppers. Mountain climbers are good here. If you're starting to feel really tired, or if you just want to keep it easy for a minute, just do plank hold. Or even a bear hold. Holding here. Go ahead and begin. Bear, plank, or grasshoppers, or mountain climbers. The palms are wide here. Anytime your palms are touching the ground, feel the webbing. That's 30 seconds. Take a break there if you like. Got our lunges coming back up, reverse lunge. Keep it easy on this round through if you can. 10 seconds to go. First lunges. If you're doing like a knee drop in the last few sets, maybe you can try stretching the leg instead, seeing how far back that heel can reach. Go ahead and begin. We're going to be doing curtsy lunges on the next set. Then maybe on the last one, we'll try skiers. See how those work for you. Toes are still relaxed here. As I step back, front toes are relaxed. They're not jamming into the ground. If anything, the big toe might press into the ground as if it would onto a gas pedal, but you don't want it gripping the ground. Go ahead and take a break there. That's 30 seconds. And that goes for lunges and squats. Pretty much all standing poses, you don't really want the toes to grip the floor. Very common though. Almost everybody does it when they first start off. 10 seconds to go. All right, bicycle crunches, boat pose, sit up, something. Okay here. I'm just going to hold boat pose. What I'm going to try and do is lengthen my legs out and then bring them back in. I'm using my breath. I inhale as I press, and relax. If this is easy for you, you can always try both legs. I like adding a lot of variation to my workouts, as long as it feels the same, as long as you're kind of working a similar muscle group. If it were squats, I wouldn't do sit-ups, but I might do jumping squats or sumo squats because those are similar moves. That's about 40 seconds here. You can take a little bit of a break if you like. We have our rest coming up. In 2, 1, take a break. 1 minute break here. Going back to our burpees just a little bit. It's our second to last round, so we're getting pretty close to the end here. The second to last round, start picking it back up. I wouldn't sprint quite yet. I would save your sprint for the very last round. So make this round harder than your last set, but not as hard as you can go. Make it maybe like an 80% if you're used to your percentages. Work at about 80%. In about 30 seconds, we'll get. Burpees will be first. About 10 seconds. Burpees will be coming up in 3, 2, 1, begin. Faster than the last round, but not as hard as you can go. Save your sprint. You're already kind of dying. If you're already feeling fatigued, just keep it easy. Keep moving. Doesn't matter how many reps you do. $30 seconds. You want to keep working? Go ahead. Maybe up to the 40-second mark or so. That's 40 seconds. Pulling it down if you need to. We got our squats coming back up. Your second to last time on these squats. If you want to change it up, you can do sumo squats. Like I said before, it's very similar, just different angles of the muscles. And 3, 2, 1. Either regular squats, sumo squats. Both of those can have arms overhead or hugging some sort of weight if you want. On the sumo squats, the knees want to drive out towards the toes. Ideally, you want to be as wide as you comfortably can. Kind of here. If the knees kind of collapse inwards, that might be a little too wide for you, once you feel comfortable driving them out. $30 seconds. Take a break there if you like. Grasshoppers will be coming up. Mountain climbers, plank hold. If you want to do a plank hold, that's good too. And about 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, mountain climbers. I'd bring these back to the mountain climbers if you've dropped down. And then on the last set, we can try grasshoppers. Even if you're not very good at them, we can try them just to see how much we can practice it out. Use your abs to pull the knee in. A lot of the hip abs that drive the knee up, not really the leg. You want to pull it. $30 seconds. Take a break if you like. Work a little longer. Be good. Next movement is going to be our reverse lunge. We're going to try and do skiers this time. You want to work a little faster. Skiers are going to be the movement for you, especially if you can jump around a little bit. If you can't jump around, we can do a very slow version of the skier. But otherwise, see how well you are moving fast here. Get started in 2, 1. Skier is going to touch one leg back and then switch over. These can be without the leg or the hand touching the ground. These are called curtsy lunge. The hands don't touch the ground, but if you want to work a little faster, touch the inside of your foot, making it look like you're skiing or ice skating. My posture is still good. My shoulders are wide. I don't want them to collapse together. Be fast, kind of jump between the movements. Want to jump really wide, you can. Let's try another 5 seconds. Nice. You guys are doing good. In 2, 1. Take a break there. That's 20 seconds. Bicycle crunches are coming back up. It's going to be elbow to knee. These can be boat pulls. These can be sit-ups. As long as you're working your abs, I'm okay. Crunches are good too if you want to do crunches. Get started pretty soon here. In 3, 2, 1. Some sort of abs. Most challenging one will be your bicycle crunch. Or even V-ups if you want to try V-ups. That's 30 seconds. Maybe take a little bit of a break. You have a minute rest coming up, so if you're feeling pretty easy on your movement, keep on going. We're going to have a minute break, let it cool down before we do one more round of this all the way through. One more round. If you're already breaking, feel free to drink some water, shake it out, pull the heart rate down with your breath. Right, we got about 50 seconds. for our last set of burpees. This is where you're going to pick it up. This is where you're going to sprint if you can. If you have a little bit of energy left to go, try using it up. You're not going to really need it for that last workout. The last workout's more going to be like technique and maybe joint fatigue, but not so much muscle fatigue. Got about 30 more seconds to go. I know if this mic is cutting in and out, we've been looking for, or starting to look at other variations of pro mics. So we'll see what we can find. This is just for a phone. This is just a headset for a phone, an iPhone. Quality definitely sounds like we're on a phone. Get it fixed though. All right, we got our last set of burpees coming up in 3, 2, 1. Move quick. Go ahead and begin. And try and move fast, like you're jumping out of the ground, up, so on and so forth. Just make it as quick as you can. Some people can do 10, 15 burpees a minute. You're really, really fast. That's kind of the goal here, 10 to 15. You can get to 10 here. You're doing pretty good. Steady pace if you can. Work on your full breath. With your burpee, you can have 2 breaths per movement. 2 movement exercise. That's about 35 seconds. If you're working pretty quick, go ahead and take a break. Go ahead and take a little bit of a break. Otherwise, keep on going. Got about 15 more seconds before our explosive squats. The last time on the squats will be coming up. All right, in about 5 seconds, squats will be coming up. In 3, 2, 1, down slow, up fast. This can be with a plate or some sort of weight. Anything that you want to hug nearby, maybe a water jug, it's going to be good too. At the top of each squat, make sure your glutes and your abs are contracted. You feel very flexed, these 2 big muscles. You can use your exhale to make sure, kind of check them off. At 30 seconds. If you want to take a break, go ahead. We got the grasshoppers coming up. We're going to try grasshoppers on the last set. I think keeping it easy on those 2. Mostly because we're living on the top floor, but it is an explosive movement. Moving quickly enough, the room might shake around a little bit. In 10 seconds, got the grasshoppers. In 3, 2, 1, palms wide, grasshoppers. Breath steady. "30 seconds. Let him take a break if you like. Going really strong, keep them moving. Very good. You can always switch these up. It doesn't have to be grasshoppers the whole time. We got our reverse lunges coming up. It's going to be your last set of lunges. Try your skiers. You can do your jumping lunges if you want to. Anything is fine here. 5 seconds to go. In 2, 1, skiers, curtsy lunges, or reverse lunges, whatever you have space, energy to do. Keep the breath steady. This is your last round. We'll take like a 2-minute break after this. Do a short workout at the end here and kill your core off. Got about 3, 2, 1, and that's 30 seconds. If you want to keep working, go ahead. Your last time on these. Have 1 more movement coming up. Last one. All right, that's the 45-second mark. Maybe take a little break there. Bicycle crunches coming up. This is your last one. You can do V-ups. This will be a more challenging ab workout here if you want to. Bicycle crunches are always going to be challenging, so stick with them if they're already tough. But otherwise, you can try V-ups here. Toes, and then back down. Go ahead and begin. Got about 5 more seconds before you're at the 30-second mark. So this is the last movement. So if you want to work the whole minute, I encourage you to. That's 30 seconds. If you want to take a break there, that's also fine. Take a break. We're going to take like a 2 to 3 minute break here. So if you're still working, feel free to work for a little bit longer. Keep going. Got about 20 more seconds. Water down just a little bit. 5, 2, 1. Take a 2-minute break. Drink some water. Do what you got to do. Take it out a little bit. Pace around. I'll go over the last workout in a minute. While you guys are resting, I'll wait like another 30 seconds. All right. So while you guys are resting here, talk about your 2 movements. What we're going to be doing is Tabata. Tabata is 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest for 8 rounds. So it's a little under 4 minutes of work, but the 4 minutes will go by pretty quick, even though you'll be dying the whole time. Especially if you're working the whole time. If you're working the whole 20 seconds each time, you don't really have that much rest. It's 10 seconds kind of thrown in here and there. So it's really just like one big breath, shaking it out a little bit, and then just jumping right into your next movement. We have 2 different movements. Sometimes Tabata can be 1 movement. Sometimes it's 2. We're going to be doing forearm plank hold for 20 seconds. We're going to keep the heels pressing back. The knees can be on the ground for modified, but strengthen the legs if you don't want to modify. And the palms are separate. You want to keep your forearms parallel to each other. Try not to make this triangle here. Second movement is going to be reversed table hold. Flipping over onto your butt. Going to jerk the hips all the way up. If this is challenging on the shoulders or the wrists, your fingers are going to point away from you like a fish, like the fins off to the sides. If this is good for you, if you're feeling pretty comfortable, ideally you want your fingertips to point back. The head is not going to relax back here. You're going to keep it straight. You're going to try and lengthen through the neck. All right, so we're going to do 20 seconds of forearm plank, 10 seconds of break, and 20 seconds of reverse table hold, 10 seconds of break, so on and so forth for 8 rounds, 4 minutes total. All right, we'll get started in like 10, 15 seconds. Really the focus on Tabata is your breath. You want to keep your breath low, your heart rate low. We're going to get started with our forearm plank first. In 3, 2, 1, begin. Hold. The heels are pressing strong. The legs are engaged, the belly tight, the glutes flexed. The arms are kind of pressing through the ground, trying to make deeper imprints into the mat than I already am. I feel my pressure through the ground. 5 more seconds. 2, 1, 10-second break. Gonna roll around. You're on your butt. 5 seconds. Gonna be lifting up into a table hold. If you want to keep the hips low for now, that's okay. This is a crab hold. This will build up to your table hold. Go ahead and begin. Table or crab. Crab's gonna be low. Table's up high. Fingers try to point as far back behind you as they can. Try not to have them point towards your butt though. Off to the sides would be better. 5 seconds. The glutes are engaged. The belly's still tight here, just like all of our other movements. 2, 1, break. Flip back around for your plank. Up. And 3, 2, 1. Begin. Legs strong. You need to modify. Knees to the ground is fine. Just don't let the toes float. And keep the ankles pressing into the ground because eventually this will let your knees float. Building a lot of strength through the core, through your grounding. 5 more seconds to go. 2, 1. Back around. Table hold or crab hold. If you're in crab hold and bridging up to table is tough, Stick to crab, and you can even try alternate crab taps. Go ahead and begin. So the head is reaching, the crown is reaching, it's not relaxed. Chest is opening up, the shoulders pinching down, palms pressing strong. 3, 2, 1, flip back around. Your plank. If the plank's really easy for you, some of you guys can hold planks all day. You do plank ups here. Go ahead and begin. Bring yourself onto your palm, drop yourself back down. And alternate which side brings you up so that you don't build imbalances. So the hips don't sway around too much. I keep them steady. You're balancing an egg on your hip. Go ahead, break. Flipping back around. You can already feel how this is more in the joints than musculature, more in the joints than cardio for sure. Go ahead and begin. Reverse table hold, or crab taps. Use your glutes to drive the hips up. Butt has to feel flexed here. Belly tight. Breathing into the back. Use your diaphragm. Go ahead and break. Back to the forearm plank hold. Plank ups are good here. And 2, 1, begin. Belly's tight. You're balancing that egg right on your hip bone. You don't want it to roll around too much. Falls off your hip. Moving a little too much. In 2, 1, break. Your last reverse table hold. I know, I said it comes up pretty fast. You go through this pretty quickly. It just depends on how much you hate these movements. If the minutes go by fast or slow. Go ahead and begin. Last one here on your reverse table hold. My arms aren't collapsed into the shoulders here. I want to try and press the ground away from you. Find a good posture through the shoulders, through the chest. Breathing into the back. In 2, 1. Take a break. All right. Take a minute break. Cool it down a little bit. Shake it out a little bit. And we're going to stretch. Nice job, guys. And water if you need to. We'll stretch in about 30 seconds to a minute. Right. Our first stretch is going to be pigeon pose. If you know my classes, this is going to be pretty generic stretches, ones that we always do. You're going to have the right knee forward, the left toes back. Sit as tall as you can in your posture. As you walk the hands down, you don't want to feel them pressing into the ground too much. You want to let the legs hold you up. Reaching out as far as you can, and touch the ground once you feel like you need to there. If you can get the forehead down to the ground, go ahead. And since our right leg is forward, we're going to take the left arm and thread it underneath the right armpit. If your left leg is forward, just use the other arm. The right hand can actually bind here if you wanted to, crossing over the hip. Just take about 3 to 5 deep breaths into any tight spaces, into any resistance you can feel in your body. And let the exhales carry that tension away. And gently switch sides. You can bring yourself back to your palms. Shake out the right leg. A lot of tension in there. Shaking it out can help. Over to the left knee forward. Right toes back. Find your tall posture. Very gently walk the hands out. You need to kind of press into the palms. Do so as little as you can so that the legs really do feel. Walking out. Maybe the forehead down to the ground. Since our left knee is forward, the right hand will thread under. Opposite arm to opposite. The left hand can reach across for a bind. If you can reach all the way to your foot here, you can grab onto your foot and use it as leverage. Kind of hold yourself deeper into this twist as you breathe into those tight spots. Take another 2 deep breaths into any tight spaces you're finding. And we'll release out of this pose. Take out the left leg. And we're going to go into a lizard pose. Step the right foot to the outside of your right palm. If you're already feeling a stretch, you don't need to add anything else. You want to add more stretch. First, try to bend your back knee. The left knee bends, and the right hand will grab on. So opposite hand to opposite foot is trying to grab on. Sometimes this is tough to do. I know a lot of people aren't able to grab onto their foot right away. After a few weeks to a few months, they certainly can, but maybe the first few times they're not able to. You want to flex your hamstring. Try to drive your heel as close as you can to your butt, and then grab onto your foot. If it's still not happening, don't worry about it for today. You can drop down to the elbows. This is another variation of the stretch. Kind of opening up the hip and the groin a little bit. Take another breath or two. Letting the back leg down if you're holding on. One knee in. First progression, just to hang out here. Maybe bend the back knee. Your opposite hand to grab on. So if the right leg is bending, the left hand will grab on. You are holding onto the foot, and it doesn't really feel like a stretch. You can always drop down to the elbow. This will deepen the quad stretch much more. Without the foot, it's more of a groin stretch here. Still good stretch. Breathe into it. Do a hero's pose. It's also kind of a stretchy sitting position. Not comfortable for you? Sit in easy sitting with legs crossed, whatever you want to sit on. We're going to reach the arms out wide and then bring your left hand underneath your right elbow to wrap the palms together. Take about 3 deep breaths. On the inhale, see if your elbows can reach forward and the fingers reach up. On your exhale, shoulders are going to pull down into the ground. More breath. Switch sides, release out. Right hand under the left elbow. Make sure you're doing a different arm now. Inhale the elbows forward, fingers reach up. Exhale, shoulders heavy. Last one, you're going to reach the arms out. Try to clasp them behind your back here. Doesn't matter which side you do, just choose a side. What you're going to try and do is get those elbows to drive behind you on your inhale. Fingers are going to try and reach closer together on your exhale. If you're not able to grab the fingers, just press your fingers into your back. Wherever they end up, give yourself a little massage. You can use that as leverage to drive the elbows back. This will always get your fingers closer and closer together. If your elbows are relaxing here, if you're not really paying attention to them and they're kind of just slinking off to the sides, then your fingers are going to lose range. And get those elbows as far back as they can first. Take one more deep breath. Sides, shake out the arms. Other arm up, other arm down. How close you can clasp. One side is going to be way easier than the other. Feel a tightness. Breathe into it. And release a little bit on the exhale. Take out the arms. We're all done. Nice job today, everybody. I know it was kind of a tough workout, a lot of cardio, 35 minutes of movement. If you were there and you did it all.